He's not afraid of the consequences. He speaks all the time against all this tyranny that we're living in every day. And I'm sure many of you know him, the one and only Manny Medina.
Every single time I am in a room with such, I'm completely humbled right now by just this turnout right here. And I want to say thank you again. Last night I said thank you to the bunch that we were with, the heroes that I consider every single one of us here, because we are a very small part of the population of this country, population of this world. But the knowledge that we have, and the knowledge that we have because of the passion that we have, that we bring to so many others, I just want to say thank you from my family and the 3,000 others that lost someone on this day. Thank you so much, everybody. I'd like to tell you about a few things. I'd like to tell you about a few things that happened today, because today is a very emotional time for my family and so many others. I want to say I thought today's weather was perfectly fitting for the event that took place. The chaos that we saw, that Mother Nature gave us, was the same chaos that the criminals who are still getting away with the mass murder put to our families and every single one of us. We were all traumatized. That trauma is now lifting little by little because of the actions that everyone in this room is taking. So that's really important. Today at Ground Zero, I was with another superhuman, someone who mentored myself in being able to speak openly and loudly about the events. Bob McElveen. I stood next to him and his wife Helen and his son James, and myself and Heather and Mike McCormick, first responder. A number of others were there. And Bob McElveen told me something amazing. I'm going to tell you a few things that are extremely amazing in the short time that I have. And this is going to shock you. This is something that we haven't heard yet. We all know that Charlie Sheen wrote a letter, a fictional letter nonetheless, and did a video. And he based that letter and the video on facts that you cannot deny. You see, we get in debates all the time about the science and the architects and the engineers and the science of it. And people can debate that because not a lot of people know about that. Well, you can't deny the criminal actions of our government and the cover-up that ensued after this unsolved crime, the psychological operation that we know as 9/11. And
still going on.
We find that that letter was received by many people. One of them was Larry King. Larry King, who has in the millions, wants to have Charlie Sheen on his show. And that's just one person that's going to have him on. He's going to have many shows that he'll be on, but this is the kicker. You see, what happened was that Charlie Sheen, when he was asked by Larry King to be on the show, said, "I'm not going on the show unless I have a family member there." He just finished watching Press for Truth. He said, "I want Bob McElveen there." And we're going to get there, okay? We're going to get to the truth in the myriad of ways that we're doing it. We're going to get to the justice that's due my family, the justice that's due the tens of thousands of sick and dying first responders that were lied to, the ones who we're raising money for. Every dollar you put right on that table over there is going directly to help out the heroes that went in to rescue and recover my uncle's body. I'll tell you about a few other successes, some wild things that I learned today.
when trust
when I first started getting into this, I believed everything the government told me for years, just like many of us in this room. But we all had little questions, of course, right? The things that woke me up were Road to Tyranny and Martial Law, 2 documentaries that kept me up all night because I had to go over them over again. And a couple of books, Sorrows of an Empire by Claymores Johnson, speaks about the over 800 military bases we have throughout the world and spheres of influence of our empire, and Michael Rupert's Crossing the Rubicon. Okay, fantastic book. In that book, Don Arias, someone I worked with in the Air Force, was quoted as saying that there's a maestro for the war games, the multiple war games, the up to 12 war games that were taking place that day. Well, at an anti-torture rally at Judson Church only a few months ago, I met another family member. It's amazing to meet the family members that are open-minded enough to understand and acknowledge what we've been talking about for so long, all of us collectively. And Valerie, the aunt of Don Arias, spoke to me about how her son lied to the 9/11 Commission. And very quick background, Adam Arias died in the towers on 9/11. This is Don Arias' brother, Valerie's nephew. Don Arias was on the phone that morning after the first plane hit Don Arias' position. First Air Force Public Affairs. First Air Force, before the Department of Homeland Security, was responsible for all air defenses here in the United States. These are guard units and reserve units that are set up with F-15 interceptors. They get to targets within 10 minutes. Literally, the pilots are like firemen. They sit around in their uniforms, and the minute there's something that comes up, they just get right into the hangar, and the plane's off the ground within 3 minutes. Okay? This happens all the time, and even though these war games were taking place, it didn't matter. We had multiple interceptors available at multiple places in the U.S. Don Arias, being in charge of First Air Force Public Affairs, got all the media calls that morning. Well, he told his brother, after hearing that a plane hit the North Tower, he called his brother in the South Tower, and he told the 9/11 Commission that I told my brother that he should leave because it may not be safe there. Well, speaking with Valerie this evening, just before I came here today, Valerie mentioned that's not the story that Don told the family 8 days after 9/11, when they found Adam Arias' body. That was not the story Don told his family. Don told his family, unlike what he told the 9/11 Commission, that I called Adam and I told him to get out of the buildings because there's another one on the way. How did this officer working for First Air Force know that a second plane was going to hit the tower that his brother was in? This is obvious foreknowledge. The foreknowledge we find throughout even the official story. But what we found over the years is that there's tremendous foreknowledge. More stories from today. I was interviewed by NBC News. I was interviewed by a number of radio stations here in the U.S.
U.S. talking to
Spain
today?
and in France and in England concerning the success and the democratic actions taken by 80,000 New Yorkers signing a petition to have a new investigation. These actions that we're all taking, this is all inspired by We Are Change, inspired by people like Luke, and then everyone else that's in this room. We do inspire others. Okay, you have to know that. You have to know that we do bring an empowering message of knowledge and hope. Okay? So what we find now is that these different stations are now covering the fact that we're looking to get a new, impartial, non-political, subpoena-powered, privately funded investigation into the mass murder of 3,000, my uncle included, the unsolved crime of 9/11.
Yeah.
Kevin?